So hello, good people. Hello, good people. How are you? This evening, afternoon, whatever time of the day that it is. Let me cut my mic down. Is this Q&A live? Yes, it is. Tell me where you're from. How y'all doing tonight? San Francisco, all the way to South Carolina, New York, California, another Cali viewer, Houston, Texas, El Paso, Texas, Jacksonville, Florida. I'm in Jacksonville, North Carolina. Cool. Texas, all the way from Alabama. Hey, Miss Hernandez. Y'all are welcome. I appreciate helping. Houston, San Diego, Arkansas, a fellow North Carolinian, Hawaii. So whenever y'all ready for questions, just send them on up. I'm ready to answer. Just to reintroduce myself to everybody, I'm Carmella George. I'm a VA accredited claims agent. I've been at this officially since 2018, but been doing it much longer. I love helping veterans. It's my passion, and I'm here to answer any questions you may have this evening. Meridian, Mississippi. Never been to Mississippi, actually. Jackson Springs, North Carolina. Chandler, Arizona. Alabama. Lawton, Oklahoma. I have some friends out there. Oh, here's a good question. I have a virtual CMP for sleep apnea. What to expect? I would expect questions about your sleep apnea, like when it started, where it was diagnosed, if you use a breathing machine, that type of thing, and any symptoms you have, like daytime sleepiness, that type of thing. But I would expect it to be very short. The Dbq Disability Benefits Questionnaire for Sleep Apnea is only 2 pages. It contains a limited amount of questioning, so there's only so much the doctor can ask you. So I would actually expect the exam to last no more than 10-15 minutes, if that. My claim has been assigned to a higher rater since November. Is there a time frame to decision? Have you already had your informal conference, or did you ask for an informal conference? If you've already had your informal conference, then you should expect there should not be very much more time till a decision. But if you haven't had your conference yet, you're looking at about 3 to 4 months right now for higher level reviews. Good, great question here. It's been 20 years since I got out. Can I still file? Absolutely, yes. You can still file. I see claims awarded every day, 20, 30, 40 years out, just filing their first claim, and they still file and they get awarded. So if you had injuries in service, diseases, illnesses in service, please file your VA disability claim as soon as possible. Any information on depression, CMP exam, not actively diagnosed, but seeing psych. Waiting on prescription for antidepressant. Basically, they're going to go by the disability benefits questionnaire. So I would encourage you to take a look at that and look at the line of question. They're going to ask you about your childhood. They're going to ask you about your military history, about your life post-military, about your education, your occupation, any relationship issues, substance abuse issues, any legal issues, just to kind of get a feel for your life. You want to be sure to bring up your depression, what depresses you, even if they don't ask about it. Sometimes the doctor will ask about everything else but the thing that you claim, just to see if you bring it up. So be vocal, talk about your issues, give clear examples, like I'm hypervigilant, I can't be around people, I stay at home all day, I stay at home most of the time, I have very little friends, I don't trust people. You know, those are just some examples of the things you could say. You don't have to say all of that, but just give clear examples about your condition so the examiner can get a picture of your life. And don't focus on things that are not the military. Like if you had a really bad childhood, you want to briefly mention that, but you want to focus on the military. If you're trying to connect your depression to the military, you want to focus on the military. If you're trying to connect your depression to something secondary, you want to focus on whatever that primary condition is that's causing your depression. What does it mean when a claim is deferred? It basically means it's been delayed for more information. There was something else that the rater needed to make a decision on that claim, so they deferred it or put it off to get that information before they made a decision. What should I expect from a PTSD CMP? Pretty much the same thing I just said for depression, except they're going to ask about your stressors too, the incidents that happened in service that caused your PTSD. And so you want to be prepared to talk about your stressors and how they affect you. If I have sleep apnea and was issued a Cpap, should I file an intent secondary to PTSD, not service connected yet? Well, if it's not connectable to anything else, I would suggest that you do that. Yes. But you're going to want to claim it on the basis of aggravation, not direct causation, because there's not much medical evidence, medical research that says PTSD causes sleep apnea, but PTSD can definitely aggravate sleep apnea. Not a medical professional, but that's what I've seen. My job was infantry, and I always had to walk everywhere I went with a rucksack 40 plus pounds. I never claimed anything for my back. Is it too late to claim back issues? No, it's not too late. It's going to be difficult, but it's not late if you never went for the situation in service, your back situation in service, never went to sick call for it or anything like that. It's going to be difficult, but not impossible. I've seen people get connected for it. If you have any pictures with your rucksack on, definitely send those in. Write a very detailed personal statement about all those walks you had to take with a 40-pound rucksack and the toll it took on your back over time, and submit that with your claim. Once the VA finds you service connected, will you always be considered service connected? Basically, the answer is yes. The VA can sever service connection, but those situations are very far and few and in between. They also can reduce your service connected percentage, but that's not severing it. So you will still be service connected. But basically, there has to be some situation involving fraud or clear and unmistakable error for them to sever a service connection. And those situations, like I said, are few and far in between. I put in a claim a year ago in May. Can I expect a result soon? I would certainly hope so. That is a long time for a claim these days, but you did put it in right in the heart of COVID. and the pandemic. And so that is probably what the holdup is. Hopefully you already had exams. If not, I would definitely try to find a representative and get somebody advocating on my side for them to hurry up, basically. I have a CMP with LHI. What should I expect for PTSD? Basically the same thing I just said for depression. They're going to ask you a bunch of questions. You're going to want to know your stressors inside and out, know what is the cause of your PTSD, be able to recite that code, and then talk about how it affects your everyday life, your working life, and your social life. Army Medical Board, 18 years. My VA rep told me she doesn't put in the VA waiver to DFAS. DFAS says VA needs to submit it so I can collect CRCS. How do I get it done? Well, usually I see the VA do this automatically after some time. But if it's not moving, you definitely want to call the VA and say, hey, can somebody do the audit on my account so I can start collecting CRSC, I believe it is. If my mental health doctor wants to take me off the word saying that I'm not fit for work, take me off the word, off work saying I'm not fit for work, would that put me at an automatic 100%? So there are very few situations in VA disability land that are automatic percentage. And this situation is not one of them. So I would definitely not stop working thinking that I'm going to get an automatic 100%. What you can do if you stop working is if you're 70 or 60 or 70 or 80, 90 or 100%, it's, well, if 100%, there's no point in doing it. But you can put in for total disability unemployability and individual unemployability. And that will pay you at the 100% rate, no matter what percentage you are, if you're above 60% and meet the criteria. So definitely look up that criteria for unemployability. And if you meet it, you might want to put in a claim. There is some risk to applying for unemployability. Basically, they're going to reevaluate you for everything you claim is causing your unemployability, and your ratings could be reduced. So you want to do it mindfully. You want to be mindful of the fact that it could be reduced and mindful that your disabilities need to have stayed the same or worsened in order to get unemployability. My sleep apnea claim was denied on February 2020. Should I appeal or request a higher level review? Also, would that open up all my disabilities? An appeal won't open up all your disabilities. But the question on whether you should appeal to the board or request a higher level review depends on what kind of evidence you had and the reason for denial. If you have new evidence that you feel like should be considered in the decision, then you might want to appeal to the board and choose the evidence lane. If you feel like something was overlooked, missed, or there was an error of fact or law, then you might want to request a higher level review. The decision really rests with you and where you think the bulk of the evidence is and what you think proves your disability. So did you submit a nexus and they said that one was more persuasive than the other or some language like that? If so, you might want to request a higher level review and argue that you should be given the benefit of the doubt. But there are a whole host of situations that could have happened, so I won't parlay there too long. Hi, I've been trying to service connect type 1 diabetes due to exposure to firefighting foam. The VA has issued a public health statement on PFAS, the chemical in the foam. Yet continue to deny my claim. What should I do? Get an outside opinion from a medical professional and submit that with the supplemental claim. Can you please enlighten me regarding new Dbq laws? Because the VA is still trying to send veterans who file a FDC with Dbqs that are sufficient for rating purposes to CMP exam. Basically, the new law says that the VA must make disability benefit questionnaires, DBQs, public again. They must put them on a website where veterans can find them. They have not done that yet to date, and I don't know when they're going to do it, but hopefully it's soon, so they comply with the law. It might take the new administration coming in to kind of get that moving, because the last administration is the one that took them offline, and they probably don't want to self-correct. So I'm talking about VA administration, not presidential administration. But yes, basically they should be accepting things that are sufficient for rating purposes as rateable and rating them. But the VA is ordering exams for what seems like everything now, especially supplemental claims. If you submit new evidence that proves your point, that should be enough to rate the claim. But they are still sending veterans for CMP exams. So I don't think AMA is still pretty new. It was just implemented in 2019. So I don't think the VA has figured out yet how to handle these things, especially on a case-by-case basis. They're just giving overall guidance to the raters, and they're not making it very personal to claims. And so what you're going to see exams for these things for the foreseeable future until DBQs are put back online and they put guidance in the M21 manual on how to handle them. What can I do about lost medical records? You could try to implore the VA to find them, to look again. You could submit buddy records, photographs, prescription histories. There's a number of things you could submit in lieu of medical records. There's a whole section about that in the M21 that explains what type of evidence can be submitted in lieu of lost medical records. I would encourage you to take a look at that. The M21 is the Rater's Manual, and it's available to everybody online. How many times do I have to get my migraines documented? Sometimes they say headache, besides they have changed my medications as nothing seems to be working. 2 or 3 times is fine. It's enough to submit a claim. Okay, let's see. I skipped one. Glad to see y'all tonight. Let's see. I have had the sleep study test completed. Per my results, I have a moderate case. However, they say it's not service connected. Unfortunately, because of sinusitis, I'm unable to wear the mask. On Tuesday, I have a fitting for a mouth device. Do I file again? Yes, I would use those notes from the fitting of the mouth device as new evidence and file again as secondary to your sinusitis. I was awarded 100% unemployability, but still at 80%. Is there anything I need to do to get permanent? Basically, your disabilities have to add up to 100% and be all static for you to be rated permanent and total. So is there anything else? I would be cautious in messing with your 100% unemployability. Unless there's anything else you can claim or the secondaries you can claim that will get you to 100% flat out. You need to have some understanding of VA math in order to, know exactly what you're pursuing. I would suggest that you talk with a good representative and go from there. Do personal statements really help the VA raters when making a decision? This is a very good question. I believe that they do. I believe that they help connect the dots for the rater and paint the picture of your disability and make it personal for the rater. At the agency, I don't think they take lay statements as serious and give them as much weight as they do at the board. So personal statements are especially important when you're pursuing a board appeal, but they should be taken into consideration and given good weight at the agency. Just sometimes they aren't, but at least it paints the picture for the person making the decision. So I always encourage submitting one with your claim. Can a claim be initiated on a spouse's behalf? It certainly can. If an active duty soldier is diagnosed with PTSD, why would QTC sites say it's just anxiety and depression on the evaluation? That's interesting. That's a very interesting question. Because the QTC site has the ability and authority to do that. They should still, if they just diagnose the PTSD as anxiety and depression, it should still be rated as anxiety and depression, and the service member should be service connected. If they weren't, I would totally fight that decision. It's arbitrary for a QTC site just to say that something is not service connected when it was diagnosed on active duty, and the veteran has a history of, appointments and medical attention for the disability. I mean, that would just be wayward. And so I would definitely fight that if they said it wasn't service connected. Waiting for QTC to set up my exam. Should I contact them or wait for their call? I'm all about being proactive. If you call them and they'll set up the appointment, then go ahead and do it. Thank you for joining us from YouTube. What's the pros and cons of filing a claim outright on its own as opposed to filing something secondary to something you've already been rated for? So I don't know whether I would look at it in terms of pros and cons, maybe advantages and disadvantages, which is essentially the same thing. But the advantage to filing something as primary instead of secondary is that it means that it's in your service record. You have a record of the condition in service, and that makes a world of difference when you're trying to service connect something, because the doctor who looks at it should say they clearly had a problem in service, they've had a problem since service, and they have a problem right now, and it is service connected. The reason you should file something secondary is if you didn't have a record of it in service, but you believe something that you're rated for, that you're service connected for, caused or aggravated the condition that you have now. For instance, you believe your PTSD aggravates your sleep apnea, then you might claim sleep apnea aggravated by PTSD. You believe your headaches are aggravated by your tinnitus, or tinnitus, however you say it. You might claim that secondary to your tinnitus. You believe your IBS, irritable bowel syndrome, is aggravated by your PTSD. You might claim that secondary. And so there's reasons why you should file things primary, and that's if it's notated in your service records, or you have a history of it in service, or you can prove that you had it on active duty. The reason you should file something secondary if you believe it's caused by a primary condition. The rater denied my remand appeal. What's my next step? My question would be, how long has it been? You might want to get a lawyer and take it to court. You might want to take it back to the board. If it's in the legacy system or in the AMA system, Appeals Modernization Act system. If it's in the new system, you might want to take it back to the board, keep appealing, keep fighting. If it's in the legacy system, it's automatically going to go back to the board and for them to make a decision on it. And if they deny it, then you might want to get a lawyer and take it to court. At the court, the VA is likely to settle the case. And so sometimes it just takes taking it to the next level. But whatever you do in every event, keep fighting. Do not give up on it. Look at the reason that they denied it, analyze it, and try to fill that gap. Do I need a Nexus letter to claim radiculopathy secondary to lower spine strain that is SC? No, you don't. Radiculopathy is commonly known and medically commonly known. Did I say that right? Medically commonly known to be secondary to the spine. I'm not a medical professional, but I do this every day and I see this every day. And I have seen very, very few examiners say that radiculopathy is not secondary to the spine. Why would a disability be considered not service-connected but said it was due to Gulf War environment? That's a very good question, and that doesn't make sense. There's some cognitive dissonance there. And I would look further into the not service-connected situation if it's due to a Gulf War environment. But one of the primary reasons that things are considered not service-connected, even though it occurred in the Gulf War environment, is because it has a clear diagnosis. The law allows for undiagnosed illnesses, which means just a cluster of symptoms, to be diagnosed and to be rated with no diagnosis under Gulf War illness, but it does not allow for diagnosed illnesses to be rated. So if you have a clear diagnosis for a situation, then it probably won't be rated under Gulf War illness. Should I file sleep apnea secondary to asthma? I would encourage it. Okay, so I got something weird happening. QTC called, set up an appointment, sent me the packet with the questionnaire, then called a week later, wanted to go over the questionnaire over the phone and told me not to worry about the one in the packet, that I don't even need to take it. First CMP this ever happened. Weird. Anyone else? Yes, I've seen this happen a lot of times where they just call and go over the questionnaire over the phone and put it in the system for the doctor. And so I would not be too concerned about that. I'm looking at my sleep study notes, and what my pulmonologist says, he keeps mentioning hypersomnolence, which is excessive sleeping. Can I link it to mental health, or is it a separate thing? I have certainly seen it linked to mental health before. It would not be a new situation. Something the VA has never seen, you know what I mean? Hey, Carmella. I just had a spinal cord stimulator put in at VA. What percentage is that? Thanks. I'm not sure, but I think it's probably around 40%. Based on spinal cord situations are based on your range of motion and just how far you can bend or extend and flexate and all that good stuff. Can years of acid reflux cause sleep apnea? I'm not sure. Probably, but I couldn't tell you for certain. I'm not a medical professional. I would definitely I would tell you that I would try the connection though. I'm submitting an increase to my PTSD. Do I need to submit documentation from my therapist if they are due the VA? Also, would a personal statement from my husband be accepted? No, you don't need to submit VA records to the VA. They already have your VA records and they are automatically going to pull them when you file a claim. But the statement from your husband, I would encourage and I would submit. I was at 100% service connection, disability, 100% PTSD, homebound, and other service connection. I was downgraded to 90% not homebound. I would fight that. I would certainly fight that with everything in me. Just rated 100% scheduler last month. I'm 52 years old and all my conditions are static except PTSD. I have a routine future exam January 2022. I'm considering asking for PNT, any advice. I just had a couple cases come to me like this where the veteran was already 100% and scheduler, and all they're looking for is PNT, and I won these cases. Basically, you just need to ask the VA on a 526 EZ original form for disability benefits, original application for disability benefits, to become static and permanent and total for your PTSD. That is going to take you going through another exam for PTSD, yes, but the benefit is that you become permanent and total. So you need to ask yourself, are you rated 50%, 30%, 50%, 70% for PTSD? Are you confident that it has not gotten any better and that you could get the same percentage going through another CMP exam? If you are, then I would ask for permanent and total, and go in there with confidence, knowing that my disability is still not improved. It's not going to improve probably, and that I should be considered static, and go in there, go through your exam, and then the rater decides whether it's improved or not. And so I would not make the case for PNT to the examiner, just go in there and go through the exam, but you're really right in asking the rater to make your situation permanent and total. So that's how you go about it. Just go about it prayerfully. Does it only have to be honorable discharge to qualify for VA claims? No, you can qualify for VA claims with a variety of discharges. Anything above other than honorable. And other than honorable. If it's other than honorable or under honorable conditions, they'll make a character discharge determination and determine whether you qualify for benefits. But there are more benefits besides more discharges besides honorable that qualify for VA benefits. Is PTSD, depression, and anxiety separate ratings? No, they would all be combined and given one ratings unless an examiner says they have clear symptoms, separate symptoms of each disability, and that they do not overlap any. That's very rare with mental health disorders. So unless an examiner can say that very clearly on an exam, they're all going to be combined and put together and given one rating. Is 2 CMP exams a normal thing? I just had one for my back with QTC, and they scheduled another one with VES. No, it's not normal. It must be something that QTC missed, and so they're sent it to VES to correct. And so that's not a normal thing. Something has occurred there, and you might want to get a representative to look into what is actually happening. If contaminated water in Camp Lejeune bothers women, can it do the same thing to a male? Can it do something to a male? I have tried having kids with my wife, but couldn't. So does it mess with a male? It causes problems with female. Does it bother a male? I have heard of many males that Camp Lejeune water contamination has bothered, just like females. So it's not gender specific. I heard of males having breast cancer, having infertility problems, all kinds of diseases have come from Camp Lejeune water contamination. Now, the VA only recognizes certain disabilities and diseases, but I've heard people say that different things have messed with males because of the Camp Lejeune water contamination. So infertility is definitely a problem that you should look into claiming service connection for, but whatever the official diagnosis for it is. If an active duty soldier is diagnosed with PTSD, I already answered this. If I got multiple claims with QTC, I got multiple claims with QTC. I got my mental health last week and others next week. If approved, will they make a decision on one by itself or wait till all the others are done? They can make a decision on one by itself, but more likely than not, they will wait till they are all done. I just got a Cpap machine and wasn't able to get a sleep study until I got out. Can I still claim it? Yes. Hello from Boston. Hey, St. Lou. Is a Nexus letter a must to connect headaches secondary to tinnitus? Not if you have documented medical records of it, complaining about your tinnitus and headaches and things like that. It's not necessarily must for any secondary condition because you're going to get an exam and the examiner can provide a Nexus, but it's helpful, especially if you get denied. I was in a car while 38 weeks pregnant, T-bone, and rolled over. And ever since, I have had hip problems and can't lift much without back pain and have neck stiffness and frequent headaches. How do I file it all as one? No, I will file those separate things. I would file hip pain, back pain, neck stiffness, and headaches secondary to motor vehicle accident and service. I put in for an increase and received 90%, but one of my records is before the appeal board for over a year, then COVID happened. The appeal was for a bunion that I have had surgery on left toe and forced surgery on the right toe with the metal plate and screws and still having issues. What do I expect during the video conference for this related issues, or how should I prepare for it? First of all, if you're at the point where you're having a video conference with the judge, I would certainly encourage you to get representation, whether in the form of a VSO, an agent, or an attorney. I would encourage you to have someone on your side fighting for you who knows the lingo, who knows what questions they should ask of you, and who knows what you should convey to the judge. You just want to basically get the point across to the judge that these issues happen in service, and they have continued since service, and they are plaguing you to this day. That's the basic framework you want to work from, but you want to build your story in a compelling way that would make that judge be an advocate for you and to decide on your side. Fractured my elbow in the Army. Oh, that's painful. Ended up having surgery, but VA lost my records. Have 4 late statements, but keep getting denied. Also have my senator to look, and he got nothing back. Also, do I just get up? No, don't give up. Take it to the Board of Veterans Appeals. Please do not let agency denials keep you from getting your elbow service connected when it was actually fractured in service. Do not give up. Keep fighting. Take it to the board. If the board denies it, take it to court. I had my medical CMP switch QTC on 1/6/21 and my mental health CMP with VES on 1/11/21. My mental health claim was submitted back to the VA. My VSO said it was favorable. Will they move forward with my mental health rating or wait to do all the ratings at the same time? Because it was done by 2 separate companies, it leads me to believe that it's 2 separate claims. Maybe one was a supplemental and one was an original claim or something like that. But they will probably rate these separately because it was done by 2 separate companies. That's what I'm thinking. If I am already not working due to VA documented and diagnosed PTSD, should I claim unemployability along with my initial claim? Yes. What is a supplemental claim? A supplemental claim is a form of appeal. It's where you have been previously denied and you're submitting a claim to reopen that denied claim with new and relevant evidence. That is a supplemental claim. My husband got a CVAC remand back in September. How long does it generally take for a judge's new decision? We were told by BVA they had 90 days. It's been 136 days. Who should we contact? Our VSO isn't returning our calls or emails. Thank you for all you do for veterans. I would generally give it about 6 months before I started raising Cain. You might want to contact, there's an email address called boardcustomerservice@va.gov. boardcustomerservice@va.gov. You might want to write a quick email and say, hey, what's the status of our case or something like that. It might get it moving. But if your VSO is not answering, you might want to get a new VSO. You know what I mean? But boardcustomerservice@va.gov. Does PTSD and depression count as 2 different ratings? FYI, I have been prescribed medication for the last 2 years, but haven't requested an increase. No, it's not 2 different ratings. They will just combine them and give you 1 rating. But you can go ahead and put in for an increase. How long does it take for a higher level review? At this point in life, I'm seeing it take about 4 to 6 months. Hey, Carmella, I'm 50% PTSD awarded in 2016. I got out in 2005. In 2008, I was diagnosed through the VA with severe obstructive sleep apnea. Obviously diagnosed after service. How do I go about connecting my sleep apnea secondary to PTSD? You just claim it secondary. Sleep apnea aggravated by PTSD is what I would write. Sorry, I lost my place for a minute there. You all have the benefit tonight of the VA system being down till 7 o'clock. And so I had some extra time because the VA system is down for, I guess they're working to improve it or fix some bugs or something, but it hasn't been working since 10 o'clock last night. Hello, can I just go online and register for e-benefits, or is it something I must sign up first? Yep, you just go online and register. I was stationed at a base that had contaminated water. If it messed with the woman's pregnancy, can it hurt me from having my son? Did the VA use Zantac? Didn't the VA use Zantac for heartburn? Yes, it could affect male infertility. And I'm not sure about the Zantac for heartburn question. Do you suggest to write out answers very detailed on the QTC questionnaire? Yes, be as detailed as possible. I mean, on my former husband's QTC questionnaires, I wrote pages, and it got approved. Or just be basic and go on. QTC wants to do them on the phone prior to the appointment and told me not to bring what came in packet to the exam. Totally weird. Well, sometimes they call and give it over the phone, but I would still take the form with it filled out in the packet to them. And I would submit the form that I filled out in the packet, the questionnaire, uploaded to my claim as evidence. I recently had to get a pacemaker due to the electrical conduction of my heart. And I saw in my notes that the medication I take for PTSD may be the cause that is a side effect due to long-term use. And they recommend that I stop taking it. Can I file a secondary claim? Absolutely. Do you know VA will provide ID cards for a spouse? Maybe for someone with 50% or more disability status? I think it would be a great idea and convenient when my husband is sick or needs assistance. If you're 100%, they will provide an ID card for, the military will provide an ID card for your spouse, but you have to be 100% disabled. If I hire an attorney for a claim and they haven't done nothing, is there a way to fire them, or do they get paid regardless? This is an interesting question. Because I'm in a fee dispute with the veteran right now, just to be completely honest with y'all and transparent. And the veteran doesn't feel like I did very much, but I actually did a whole lot on his claim. And he was fighting 15 years before I came into the picture. And when I came into the picture, I won the claim. And just because I did it in a short amount of time does not mean that all the education and skill and what do I want to say? Accuracy that I have acquired did not come into the picture. And so you might want to make sure that the attorney actually did nothing on your claim. Did they do something? I mean, you signed a contract. Did they do something on the claim? Did they help you win the claim? If not, okay, you have a fee dispute and you should pursue it. But if the attorney did something, it might be something that you consider insignificant, but it might have helped you win a claim. So that's my honest take on the matter. Good day. I live in Florida and I have a legacy BVA appeal waiting in line for 1 year. Can you tell me how long I might still be looking at? Thank you. Be safe out there. Yes, sir. Basically, you could be looking at another 6 months. You should be at the point if you've been in line over a year that they are about to make a decision, but it should be taking a little longer. What's the status on va.gov? Is it telling you that it's with the judge or with staff or with somebody? If so, you're not looking at that much longer. But if it's still a bunch of people ahead of you, you might be looking at another 6 months. COVID slowed things down at the BVA. Question. I received the HLR, higher level review, saying that they made an error on my rating, but it is still showing closed. The VA says that they will make a decision when I call them, but the agent on the phone sounds unsure. What should I do? Oh, they found a duty to assist error on your claim, and so they sent it back to the supplemental lane for more development. This is a normal process. They are going to make a decision eventually. It says closed right now, but eventually another claim will open up on va.gov, and you will be able to see it and track it. But it closing down after they find the error is a normal thing. There's nothing you should be worried about, and they will eventually develop the claim and make a decision. So all you need to do is sit back and wait. Don't let yourself get too worked up about it. I got a degree, then got 100%. They paid off my loan, but I wasn't done with schooling. I need to get my master's. If there's a way to get my master's and have them pay for it, that's a good question that I don't know the answer to. Maybe some other experts in this forum know the answer, but I'm not sure if they will pay off loans twice. I know they do it once. I haven't really looked into that. I'm sorry. How valuable is having a vocational expert opinion, such as voc rehab feasibility letter? It is very valuable in a unemployability claim. I have a completed DBQ with medical person before they were not public. Now that they are, can I turn it in for my claim to increase disabilities that are service connected? You surely can. I have had my exams done, and last one was November 30th and still no rating. Do I need to call someone? I would. I have an LHI appointment for migraines. How would I go about getting it service connected if they rated me 0% at my first CMP exam? Basically, you need to tell them how frequently they happen, what you have to do when they happen. Do you have to go lay down? You have to go sit in a dark place? Do you have to stop activity? And you need to tell them how they affect your work. Do you miss days of work because of it? That type of thing. And the symptoms of it. I mean, are you sensitive to light, sound? What do I need in order to get service connected and tinnitus, even though I have a low noise MOS? Just tell them about your symptoms. Really, it comes down to the examiner and if they believe you or not. But if you have it and you believe it's from service, definitely try to service connected. If you need to get an outside opinion, then get one. Remember, tinnitus can be diagnosed by any doctor, not just the audiologist. It's hearing loss that has to be diagnosed by audiologists. What makes an injury combat related? If it happened in a combat situation or in a combat related operation. They said it wasn't service connected for some reason. I had an exam with QTC for service connection increase for eczema. I submitted Dbq personal statement, photos, outside dermatology letter, and was denied. Should I do a higher level review? Possibly. If you had your own Dbq, then yes, a higher level review might be the appropriate route, or you could just put in for another increase. But if you had your own Dbq and it rated you at a higher level, then I might put in for a higher level review, yes. Carmella, do you see the VA deny more claims than in the past these days than in the past? I don't. I think it's about even. They're still denying the same amount and approving the same amount. What I'm seeing is them wrongfully denying supplemental claims where the evidence is there and enough evidence is there to prove the claim, and they're still sending the veteran to an exam, and then the exam says something totally different from the private evidence that the veteran has submitted. That's what I'm seeing, and it's really, really frustrating. I'm 70% disability for PTSD. Can I ask for consideration for female sexual arousal disorder? You certainly can. I have hydrocephalus. Doctor believes it could have been caused by a heat stroke while in training, but there are no records of it, and I don't remember anyone there to write a statement. How would I go about getting it service connected? Write your own statement about whatever some possible heat stroke that you had, in whatever training you were in, that it was hot. I was in the National Guard before I went active with flat feet. But when I got out, they said it was not service related because it was documented in the Guard. I was on profile while on active duty for flat feet. Fight that decision. Please fight that decision. If you had a profile for it on active duty, that is enough to get it service connected. Fight that decision. Hello, if I am 100% PNT, but I have a diagnosis for fibromyalgia at the 40% rating area with symptoms, and I am a Gulf War vet, should I still file just 100% PNT a few months ago? I would not. I would likely leave it alone. That's just my opinion. You could certainly still do it, but there's no benefit to you to get that extra 40%. If it was 50% or 60%, it would be a different situation because then you could qualify for a housebound. But at 40% level, it doesn't get you any increased benefit to pursue. How long after being diagnosed with PTSD, cause of MST, can it be filed? There's no time limit. I have about 8 claims in deferred status since April 2020. Ooh, Why is that? I had a CMP appointments for all 8 of them last year. It sounds like it just got caught up in the COVID situation, and the tracking is probably off on your claim, and the system and the electronic system the VA uses to process claim, called Veterans Benefit Management System. Sometimes the tracking will get off on the date that it tells somebody, a human, to touch your claim again. It will just roll on by and nobody will touch it. And then you have to wait for someone to manually go in there and do it, which might take a while. I see that often. I have like 5 or 6 claims that are in that status right now. And so you might want to get a representative on your side who can push for those things to get moved ahead, or to get moving, not ahead. Carmella, do you have recommendations on who can look at and go over your records? Hard to understand what I'm actually looking at and what to claim. Yes, I would start with the VSO, a Veteran Service Officer. DAV has them, American Legion, Wounded Warrior Project, VFW, a whole host of organizations, and your county and state should have some type of veteran services, Veterans Affairs Office, Military and Veterans Affairs Office, where they have people, paid staff, who do this for a living, who can look at your claims. So if you're just starting out, I encourage you to start with the VSO. If you get denied for something, then look into an agent or attorney. But if you're just starting out, please get a VSO to go over your records. There's a very good one here at Camp Lejeune. I love sending veterans to her. Is it normal to only have 2 CMP exams even if you submitted several claims? Yes. The VA will only give you exams for those claims they consider to have merit. So it's normal to get less exams than what you put in claims for. I have an IBS CMP exam this week. What should I expect for this exam? Basically, they're going to want to know about your symptoms and how it affects you. That's pretty much what it comes down to. You can look over the Dbq Disability Benefits Questionnaire for IBS and look at the exact questions that the doctor will be answering. But basically, it comes down to your symptoms and frequency and that type of thing. I just got denied on HLR. What options do I have? You can either submit a supplemental claim with new and relevant evidence, or you can appeal to the board. I have major depressive disorder that's service-connected. For the last 2 years, I have had blood pressure issues and anxiety. Anxiety is not service-connected, but I know both have increased due to my depressive disorder. What is your advice when filing a claim? Blood pressure can definitely be aggravated by depression, and so I would definitely encourage filing that claim. But for the anxiety situation, that's just going to open back up your depression claim, because they consider it the same thing, and they're just going to put something like major depressive disorder with anxiety and give you the same rating or a higher or lower rating. So be sure that you really want to open back up your depression before you put in an anxiety claim. But the blood pressure claim is totally valid. My wife cares for me, but the VA will not pay her. Have you looked into the VA caregiver program? If they have denied you, you might want to appeal. They have an appeal process over on the Veterans Health Administration side of things. To be considered for the caregiver program, you need to go through the social work department at your medical center. But I'm sorry that you're going through that. Also, if dishonorable, you can request a change to other than honorable. That's true. Can you be rated for both sleep apnea and insomnia? You absolutely can be. During service, I had a bunch of lipomas. They rated me 0% for 5 through 6 of them. I have like 50 of them now. I'm looking to file an increase because I take systematic meds for pain, and I just have a bunch more. Do I need a Nexus letter or just have new DBQ because I'm already service connected? I'm hung up on, are these new or just development of my original condition? I I would consider it, I'm not a medical professional, but I think it's probably further development of your original condition. And I don't think you need a Nexus letter, just a DBQ. Higher level review. Determine, I need some clarity myself. Determine error, duty to assist. Does that mean you have to another exam? It possibly means that you have to go through another exam. It could mean that they just asked for another medical opinion, which means you won't have to physically be there for the exam. It could mean a lot of things, but if they do send you for another exam, please go. I have a supplemental that is being adjudicated. I am working on another claim for secondary conditions. Should I wait for my supplemental to be adjudicated before I submit my secondary claim? No, you can go ahead and submit it. One won't affect the other because it's two different types of claim. One is a supplemental, one is an original claim. Good afternoon, Carmella. I lost a baby while in Germany. I'm sorry to hear that. Doing PT, but it was a twin at 2 to 3 months, but the other baby was full term, which later in life caused other issues. I claimed those, but they are considered not service connected to PTSD. How should I claim the other disabilities? I would probably claim it secondary. Does anger management fall under PTSD? I certainly consider it too. I have high blood pressure and chronic migraines not service connected. So should I file as secondary to PTSD? I would. I have some claims for fibromyalgia, new diagnosed by rheumatologist, submitted with Dbq. I don't know how to say that word, syndrome, symptoms in service, diagnosed after by ENT, Dequirians, treated in service, bilateral plantar fasciitis, filed with Dbq, hypothyroidism, diagnosed in service, Hashimoto, diagnosed in service, diabetes, pre-diabetic in service. I had CMP exam for all examinations, including diabetic neuropathy, Dbq. I have received notice that they want an exam for mental health, not. I don't see the rest of that question, but it sounds like you're on track. While in Germany in 89-90, there was what was called mad cow disease, which caused me to not be able to give blood at all. How should I file this claim? I will look up the formal definition for mad cow disease and file it as that. Let me look it up for you right now. It's called bovine spongiform encephalopathy. That's the formal name for it. I will file it as that. Carmella, if my CMP for tinnitus and hearing loss came back favorable for me, why can't the VA service connect me for it while I wait for my CMP for PTSD, TBI, and headaches? That's a good question. And because I know your case intimately, St. Lou, I'm going to answer it like this. Basically, VES, the company who did your exams, hasn't returned any exams to VA. So there's nothing for them to rate. And they won't do so until they do all of your exams. That's the way VES works. They don't release partial results. They only release all of the results. Until all of your results are returned, they won't rate anything. How do you go about getting a Gulf War syndrome diagnosis? The doctor has to believe that you have Gulf War syndrome. That's how you go about getting a diagnosis. Are you a VSO? No, I'm a VA accredited claims agent, which is a little different from a VSO. It's more like an attorney and less like a VSO. How do I go about filing hyperlipidemia? I believe hyperlipidemia is high cholesterol, and if that's what you're trying to claim, then the VA does not consider that. The VA does not consider that a disability for rating purposes. They consider a lab reading. Do I need a Nexus letter to claim Gerd secondary to PTSD? If my primary care doctor diagnosed me with it before I got my PTSD claim granted, like I said on an earlier question, the VA examiner can make the diagnosis and make the Nexus, so you don't need a Nexus letter. In most cases, it's helpful and it will influence the examiner, but you can wait and see what the examiner says. When you say take it to court, what does that mean? So there are different levels at the VA. There's the VA itself. Then there's the Board of Veterans Appeals, which is still considered part of the agency. And then there's an outside judiciary body of the VA called the Court of Veterans Appeals, or the United States Courts of Veterans Appeals. It's something formal, but it's something like that. And then you have the Federal Circuit, and then the U.S. Supreme Court. So there's levels to this thing. And when I say take it to court, I mean if the BVA, the Board of Veterans Appeals, has denied you, take it to the court level, the Court of Appeals for Veterans Claims, and see if the VA will settle with you there. Sometimes at the beginning of those claims, the VA's lawyers will meet with your attorney and they will try to figure something out. And that's when they will give what is called a joint remand to the BVA, a Board of Veterans Appeals, and basically tell them to take a certain action. And so that's what I mean when I say take it to court. What about gallbladder removal and kidney stones? What would that qualify for secondary to my 60% Gerd with gastritis? Or should I be cautious and apply as they have been lowering ratings? My honest answer to this question is I'm not sure, but please get with me offline and I will find the answer and get back to you. I'm not sure if that's considered pyramiding off the top of my head. Hello, I was denied a third time for sleep apnea. What am I doing wrong? I have PTSD 70%. What you're doing wrong is keeping it at the agency. Appeal to the board. Do you have a VSO in New Jersey that you can refer me to? I don't, unfortunately. I completed my CMP a month ago for several items and have a final VA assessment that I'm happy with. I was now notified of another appointment for muscle injuries with the same office, LHI. But as far as I can see, all of my claimed items have been addressed satisfactorily. Is this likely an error or something I'm missing? It's probably something you're missing. I'm not sure what, without a little bit more details. How long does it take for a remand? It could take a long time, like 1 to 2 years, unfortunately. Is female sexual arousal disorder a claim or a secondary request? It can be either. If you had it in service, it can be a primary claim. If you didn't, it would likely be a secondary request. I'm doing a supplemental claim, but I also have a separate claim to file. Should I submit both at the same time or wait between submitting? You can do them both at the same time. Here. Hello. Okay, let's see here. Wow, a lot of questions left. Does having appendix surgery removal be connected to Gerd? I'm not sure. I submitted for an increase with my disabilities. I submitted all needed DBQs from a private doctor. I received appointments that the VA scheduled. Do I need to attend those appointments even though I submitted a fully developed claim? Yes, you need to attend those appointments. I was rated 0% for hypertension and I'm resubmitted for an increase as I was just prescribed another medication on top of my previous prescription. What are my chances to get a higher rating? The rating for hypertension depends on the date of reading. And so you might want to take that into consideration when you're trying to get an increase. If you have another medication and you take those medications on the day of and they suppress your hypertension, then you're not going to get a higher rating. So you might want to think about that. I have some significant injuries and both occurred at snow time, at work side, stateside, and overseas. Once I landed with my face on the ground and the other, my hands, where I had a bandage on my arm. Can I file multiple claims for that? You surely can. Hello, can I claim ultradiff colitis secondary to PTSD? My doctor wrote a letter saying that my PTSD would cause stress and anxiety can make my ultra colitis worse. Is that enough or will it be tough to get? That's enough. What's the highest percentage you can receive for MST even if all documentation was provided? 100%. I was denied PTSD but was granted depression and sleep apnea. Should I put in for a supplemental claim for PTSD? No. They consider depression and PTSD to be the same thing. So all you would be doing would be opening back up your depression claim if you submitted a supplemental claim for PTSD. So I would not do that. Hello, Carmella. Hi. I had eye surgery, PRK, and now have very dry eyes and frequently headaches. Should I file the headaches separately from eye surgery and dry eye? Thank you. Yes, you should. I am 100% PNT. I was just diagnosed with severe sleep apnea. Should I file a claim? Is it possible to get SMC? I think it's possible to get housebound, but not SMC for sleep apnea. Hey, Combat Craig. Hope you're doing well. In reference to supplemental claims and the information having to be new and relevant info, I was denied because the VA stated my knee was originally sprained while I was in high school, and yet when I looked into the doctor's notes, he clearly stated that he found old evidence of an old ACL tear. I'm wondering if I point this out, would that be considered new and relevant evidence? Thank you for all you do. I don't think that would be new and relevant evidence because it's already of record. That's just my opinion, though. I'm not by any means the authority on that. I was just rated at 70%, but it stated non-combat. My records and personal statements I did as combat related. Who do I contact question to have this changed to combat PTSD? Unless there's some benefit to it being labeled combat PTSD, I wouldn't worry too much about it. But if there is benefit to it, then I would write the VA. My CMP is virtual for sleep apnea secondary to PTSD. When I wrote the request, I didn't say the words aggravated by. Does this matter or wait until the CMP? Just wait until the CMP and then I will clarify it for the examiner. I would say I'm not claiming that it was caused by, I'm just claiming that it aggravates it. Question. I had a sleep study when I got out that wasn't conclusive for sleep apnea, but the doctor wrote I had pathological levels of hypersomnia. This condition is as least likely as not a result of his active duty service since he got out of active duty military in June of 2014. My second sleep study, I need some clarity, was conclusive for sleep apnea. I'm trying to secondary connect to my anxiety, which is service connected, and resulting weight gain. Do I have a chance? Are there separate ratings for sleep anxiety and sleep apnea? Yes, you have a chance, and yes, there are separate ratings. Sounds like a very valid claim in my opinion. I was diagnosed by the VA with sleep apnea 4 years after I got out. I was given a Cpap, but never awarded due to it not being service connected. This year I was awarded degenerative disc for my neck. I then had a sleep study and evaluated with severe sleep apnea. I have an appointment in a few days with the VA. How should I approach this? I would just flat out ask the doctor, could my neck condition have contributed to my sleep apnea? And ask them, could they put something in the notes about it? Hey, Carmella, thanks for all you do. I'm service connected for lower back strain with spinal stenosis. I'm now having pain and range of motion issues with my hips. Can I file a claim for hip pain secondary to obesity caused by back pain? Would that be the proper wording? I would just flat out claim hip pain secondary to back pain, leaving obesity out, because I see it very frequently where back pain causes hip pain and the examiner service connects it. I don't think that obesity is needed in this claim, is what I'm saying. What if I've been diagnosed with sleep apnea after service, but my military records noted I had reported severe sleep issues when I was in? Is that enough to file for sleep apnea outright? It certainly is. Please file for it as a primary condition. I got an HLR higher level review sent for IBS increase. I have 3-4 more claims to put in, not secondary to IBS. Should I wait for the HLR or go ahead and file? Go ahead and file. At the very least, put in an intent to file. I just got married and I'm 90%. Can they pay off my husband's student loans? No, unfortunately, they only pay off loans for the veteran. I wish, because I wish somebody would pay off my student loans. I tried to get my military medical record for the past 10 years, but was told they could not be found. I've submitted a few claims, but haven't heard much of anything since I submitted in October. What should my next step be? Get a representative to look into those claims. Please get a representative. You have to sign a I have been retired since 2004 after 24 years of service. I filed 10 claims and was denied for 7 claims, got 20% for 2 claims and 0% for 1 claim. I got mad and gave up until last year and want to refile for those other 7 denied claims. Am I too late or has it been too long? No, you're not too late and it hasn't been too long. You just need new and relevant evidence. Can you touch on muscular schematic condition? There's not much that I know about this. I know that things like ALS, the VA will service connect if you get it within 7 years of military service or something like that. But otherwise, I'm not very well versed itself on schematic conditions. Will the VA accept a report from Migraine Buddy app to support a claim for migraines? They certainly will. Why is it so hard to get hearing loss connected when I've already been connected for tinnitus? Because it's all up to the audiologist. Hello, Carmella. My claim was denied for sleep apnea secondary to PTSD. Should I resubmit it with the expert Nexus letter using a different doctor with expertise in the field? I would. For some reason, they rated my PTSD as non-combat. Should I try to get this corrected or just leave it alone? I do have a reserve retirement that will kick in about 8 years if that makes a difference. If there's some benefit to getting it labeled as combat PTSD, then please do. But if there's no benefit, I would probably leave it alone. I'm not sure if the benefit's there. I still have an HLR claim. I've been calling the 800 number for status, but they don't offer helpful information. I filed myself. Is there another way I can get a status? With the representative, you can get a status. A veteran passed away in the last year leading to his 10 years. He wasn't 100%. They denied his spouse of 13 years DIC. What's the next step? Appeal to the board. I want to submit a claim for increase and do a secondary claim. But when I started an intent to file, I did not see an option for a secondary claim. Would it fall under an increase to my PTSD? Yes, it would. I was discharged by the medical board with a rating as DNEPTE. However, when it got to the review board, although my discharge paper still said DNEPTE, it was erroneously listed as DRE, which was EPTE. It took years for them to finally grant me my rating, but they did not backdate it to my discharge date. Is this appealable? My honest answer is I don't know, because I don't know what the acronym stands for. I have 2 appointments with LHI. The VA told me I could get unemployability. I work 10 to 15 hours a week. Will this affect my chances? I also have to have eye surgery due to a medication that triggered seizures, and I had an accident. I think working will affect your chances, but I'm not necessarily sure. It's up to the examiner. During that CMP, the doctor said I have some hearing loss and it only get worse with time. What can you share about fiduciaries? What if I'm trying to remove one with an appeal? What is your advice for that? Thank you. Just make the case that you're competent. If you can get any type of doctor to say that you're competent to handle your own money, that would help your appeal. How would you connect PTSD to migraines as a secondary condition? Just claim it. I was supposed to go back to the VA to do my CMP exams. However, with COVID, they just ended it all and gave me my percentage. Some of my claims weren't rated. Should I do an intent to file? Yes. My provider looked at my feet during my appointment as I complained it was hurting and told him, can you please share the Camp Lejeune VSO you like, please? Cindy Noel. Her name is Cindy Noel. She's with VFW on base aboard Camp Lejeune. All info is not good info. That's very true. How do I request an increase on my PTSD? You just go on eBenefits or va.gov and follow the prompts. Once you start a claim for compensation, it will give you the option to increase your PTSD. My provider examined my feet as I complained of it hurting, and he says I have flat feet. He recommended inserts and boots. Is that enough to get rated for flat feet or plantar fasciitis as he mentioned it? It should be if that was during service. I filed some claims for fibromyalgia diagnosed by rheumatologist submitted with. Okay, I still can't see the rest of this question. Hello, I was diagnosed with insomnia in service. I was denied in 2015. I sent more info and it was still denied. Following HLR and the VA said they found an error and will correct it. What's the difference between that statement and a Q? So a Q is a clear and unmistakable error, an error such that no two like minds would disagree that an error has been made. Outright, obvious, blatant error by the VA. A duty to assist error is an error of the law, an error of the law that the VA did not get a medical opinion. They did not assist you in some way that they were supposed to. So that's the difference between the two. What is the Nexus letter and what is it used for? A Nexus letter is a statement, is a not a medical statement by a private provider outside of the VA that opines, gives an opinion on your condition and whether it is service connected. It is used to provide counter evidence to the VA of your condition and its service connection. If I only have one more CMP on my initial claim, is it too late to add total unemployability to the claim to the initial or wait for them to rate it? Worried about holding things up but already not working due to PTSD. You can go ahead and add it. The VA did a complete overhaul on my updated ratings code sheet. One of my disabilities was static for 10 years until a recent routine future exam. This particular disability has gotten worse with the documentation noted in my VA medical records. I have a future routine exam in 2022. Do I have any recourse concerning this? Yes, I would write the VA and ask them to make it static. I have a brand new claim, PTSD and many other Gulf War issues. I have numbness in my right leg to my knee. I have no Nexus letters. Never went to medical except for one trip for my back. I have not seen my in-service medical records. Do I need Nexus letters for everything? I do have news articles, dates, and names of the PTSD issues. Not necessarily. You want to get your medical records and see what's in them, though. That will lead you on what you need letters for and what you don't. Do I have to complete the VA form 214142A? This is for the VA to contact my private providers of my DBQs. I didn't complete this form on an original claim, and my vocational rehab assessment and mental health DBQs were not reviewed. No, you don't have to complete it. And what I would do, and now what I tell veterans is instead of completing that form, just provide the records to the VA. That will take much less time than them going and asking your doctors for forms or records. I'm at 90%, 60% for bilateral heart. I'm putting in for asthma to get it to 60%. This will only get me to 94%. Should I wait to file for TDIU so that I have two conditions rated at 60%? No, you don't have to wait. Can both parents claim their child on their benefits? Absolutely. Should I claim migraine secondary to tinnitus? I would. Hello, my oldest son got his last CMP exam last Friday, but they also added a hearing test to check for further damage. Since he did not file that, will they make a decision, or after that added test is done, he filed the claim within a year of discharge? If so, how long would it take for VA to give him a decision and pay him? The famous 15 days, or is it more? I don't know about any famous 15 days, but it could take, some time for them to rate him and pay him. But they should, if they added an extra test for hearing damage, they should go ahead and rate it because it's reasonably raised by the evidence. That's what the VA considers it. I have 0% fibromyalgia rated service connected in 2010. I have developed carpal tunnel and other nerve issues documented in my medical record. Should I apply for increase? Absolutely. 0% for fibromyalgia is ridiculous. The nature of fibromyalgia itself is pain and painful. So I don't see how it would be 0%, but that's just me. I'm 90% total. Yeah, put in for an increase. I went in 64 and came out in 70. I have sleep apnea, and in 98 I had a heart attack and 3 bypass. In 2007 and 2010 I had 8 surgery on my left knee, and on the right knee is bone on bone, and said that he would not do any more surgery on my left knee. I have filled out claims on this and was denied every time because I did not go to VA doctor when I was in service. That is why they denied my claims. Please appeal to the board. I put in a claim for headaches and they said it wasn't service connected. Fight. Can you claim liver and kidney damage from medications? Yes, you can. Does an appeal affect your other claims? No, it doesn't. Let's see. I have a lot more questions here. And it's getting about the time that the VA system is about to get back up. And so I'm only going to take a few more. I'm sorry, guys. I'm trying to find where I was at. Okay, there we go. Is it worth filing for sleep insomnia as secondary to anxiety depression because I had problems falling asleep since taking the meds for the VA? No, it's not worth it because the VA considers insomnia a mental health condition. So you're just actually opening back up your anxiety and depression for possible reduction. So I would not file for insomnia secondary to anxiety and depression. Hi, Carmella. Hello. I've submitted a claim. However, I have an ITF that ends in March. Is it possible to submit claims for other disabilities that were not included with the previous claim? If so, will this affect the earlier claim causing a delay? It shouldn't. Yes, it's possible, and no, it shouldn't. Do you have a VSO in the National Capital Region you would recommend? Not off the top of my head. I have a supplemental claim on my right knee, which is pretty much bone on bone, denied initially. Have another exam in March with vet evaluation services. Also have impingement in my back affecting both hips, numbness in both hips down the entire legs. Can't sleep on either side. Got claims out secondary to back. Rated already at 60% total for other things. Also suffering from anxiety, depression. Claim out on that as well. Basically, for the joint issues, you can expect range of motion testing. For the anxiety, depression, I talked about that a little earlier, but they're just going to question you in your life and social and occupational situation and military history and that type of thing. But for the joint issues, it's mostly range of motion testing. They're looking for pain and how far you can bend and extend. Is acid reflux a secondary to tinnitus? I don't know that I've seen that very often. Any VSO you would recommend around the Fort Bragg area? Fayetteville, North Carolina. Not at the top of my head, but if you contact me, I have some friends in that area who might be able to give me a name. Is insomnia a separate claim from sleep apnea? Should I submit for both? Yes, it's a separate claim, and yes, you should submit for both. Alrighty, guys, so that's all the time I have tonight. Thank you so much for hanging with me and for participating and asking such wonderful questions. I hope that I've been able to help you out just a little bit. I wish you all the best in your claims. And if you have any questions, you can always ask the group. There's lots of very helpful people in our group and in our community that can help you. Please continue to share your wins so other veterans know that it's possible to win these things. And I wish you the best. Y'all take care.